On a hot July afternoon in 2014, President Goodluck Jonathan rang me in my office and asked that I join him immediately for a meeting with one of his senior presidential advisors, the Chief of Naval Staff, and 2 representatives from a Middle East shipbuilding company. When I arrived about 15 minutes later, the meeting had already commenced, and the President asked the Chief of Naval Staff to summarize for me the essence of the proposals on the table. According to the Chief of Naval Staff, the Navy was confronting serious challenges because its old and inadequate ships, specialized boats, and other types of equipment were hampering it from carrying out its functions of patrolling and protecting the country's coastal waters. The naval dockyard was not equipped to carry out the repairs and maintenance of naval assets. The business proposal from the group from Abu Dhabi was to take over the naval dockyard, re-equip and refurbish it, and use it as a base for the repairs and maintenance of naval vessels and the construction of new vessels. In particular, one of the Navy's key assets, the ship NNS Aradu, which was badly in need of repair, could be refitted and modernized in the dockyard instead of being sent abroad for repairs. All that was needed, according to the Chief of Naval Staff, was for the Navy to ensure an adequate supply of vessels for repair over the term of a memorandum of understanding with the company, and or guarantee the purchase of a number of new boats to be built in the dockyard, sufficient to allow the company to recover its investment with a margin. When I asked about how large this investment needed to be, how it would be made, where the resources would come from, what types of revenue streams would be needed to underpin cost recovery, and how long the agreement would be for, the company representatives, 2 young men, looked somewhat baffled and irritated. They seemed to think that they were in the presidential office to finalize a deal, not to respond to questions from someone they had not met until then. The Chief of Naval Staff said that this arrangement would cost the government nothing. The company was ready to invest a very serious sum of $2 billion in the business. At that moment, I knew there must be a catch, and this must be why the President had sent for me. I was already worried about the notion of guaranteeing a number of boats for repair or purchase, sufficient to ensure a return on the company's investment. Now there was also the ostensible $2 billion in the investment. The Chief of Naval Staff turned to the business representatives for further explanations and answers to my questions. The men explained that their company, a large and well-known shipbuilding consortium known as Pre-Invest, was prepared to modernize the dockyard and set up modern shipbuilding facilities. To do this, they would seek out banks that could syndicate $2 billion in loans, which would be borrowed in the name of their company to make the investment, but would have to be guaranteed by the Nigerian government. Finally, the deal was fully on the table. The government would guarantee the loan, the stream of revenue sufficient to make repayments, and a margin left over for investors. Who wouldn't want to invest in Nigeria on such terms? How could an investment proposal that left the government with all the risks be taken seriously? I asked the investors for their business plan, and they said they had none. At least not there. I signaled my unease to the President and pointed out that the guarantee was tantamount to the government taking a loan, and as such would have to be approved by the National Assembly. The President immediately said that, given all the issues I had outlined, the proposal needed more work, and so the investors and the Navy needed to work with me and the Finance Ministry to sort out the issues.
Interesting story, isn't it? There are lots more in that book. Stories that offer us peeps into how government operates in Nigeria at the highest levels. At that event, there was also time for questions and answers.
Because of issues you had with the person that had to deal with the LPC, your mom being kidnapped, this person made it difficult for you, very, very difficult for you, not to go through the right channel, like the place that is supposed to take it, Christian like. So my question is this: how do you reconcile being a technocrat, working with politicians? Because the issue is this: you're a pure technocrat, do your job, get out of that place, but you're dealing with vultures. So how do you manage this thing? Because at the end of the day, someone needs to be a technocrat and still be a politician and deliver. Thank you.
I found that so many people wanted me to quit. And quitting was about the easiest thing I could have done. Well, it would have been from all the problems and the late nights and so on. First of all, why did I even come to serve? People said we're very cynical. Why would she come to leave a good job? The dream job that many people want to run to and come. And I left it. It took me a long time to make that decision. If you read the book, you will see that. Because the first time around was not easy. Second time when I was invited, I said no, under President Yar'Adua. Then third time, it was very hard. But I decided that being called upon to serve your country is an honor. And no matter how cynical people get in this country, it is still an honor. I want all of you to consider it an honor to serve your country. And that's why in the end I said, look, maybe I should go ahead and try to do this. I think the second reason was that, well, even before I started, people didn't want me to do the job. So when people are trying to prevent you from coming to do something, doesn't it trigger some thoughts in your mind? Why are they so desperate for me not to come? Then when I came, almost every other day, resign. People kidnapped my mother so I could resign. And at that point in time, if your mother has been through all of that, so right at the beginning in 2012, December, and what they were asking for was not money, it's for me to resign. Had they ever thought how easy it would have been for me to just leave? I didn't have to stay. But staying was an act that I thought needed to be done. And I don't regret it.